Welcome to Okay Now What? I'm your host, Kate Gladdin, episode 11. This is the show for people who know life doesn't happen to you. Life happens, and the impact it has is up to you. Hello, 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 beautiful people. I am happy to say that I'm in a slightly more calm mindset this week. Thankfully, all the legends that are out there helping to fight the wildfire, the bushfire, as I'd call it from Australia, around our place are doing an incredible job and helping keep it away from the community. So shout out to all those that have just been working so tirelessly over the last couple of weeks now. It feels like it's been dragging on forever, but I can only imagine how they're feeling. So just want to give a shout out to all the emergency responders that are helping take care of our town, but also just emergency responders in general. Such an underthanked job. And yeah, just have a heart full of gratitude. So if any of you are listening, thank you, thank you, thank you. And I also wanted to let you guys know if you enjoy visual watching videos, not just listening to audio, I have actually started uploading the videos of me just sitting here recording my interviews, all that jazz, to my YouTube channel. So if you just look up Kate Gladdin, I'm the only Kate Gladdin in the world, which is pretty cool. Well, there are other Kate Gladdins, but they tend to spell their last name with an E, and I do the I. So I'm pretty sure that's about the only Kate Gladdin you will find on YouTube. So that's me. If you check out, I've got a podcast channel specifically for this podcast show with the episodes that I've recorded over this past month, and I'm just going to throw them up each week because I feel like, why not? I haven't got anything to hide. If you want to watch the video while I sit here and chat my way through each of these episodes, you're more than welcome to. And the last quick announcement for today is also that it is less than 1 month from the day I record this till my new book comes out of the same name, Okay Now What? And this book, it's my absolute heart and soul. It's about all things resilience. You've probably heard about me speak about it for a while now. But if you haven't yet, please jump and pre-order your copy now. So you can pre-order it. So you'll be among the first in the world to get your hands on it when it goes on sale on November 12th. And if you are someone that you kind of like to try before you buy, like to get a bit of a taste test, take a sticky beak, as I'd say in my Australian way, which basically just means take a peek at the book before you buy it. I do have a free chapter you can now download. I'll drop the link in the show notes, but basically it's kategladdin.com /free /free, kategladdin.com /free. You will get the intro to my book and a free chapter to check it out and see what you think. But honestly, if you're a human in this unpredictable world with a human brain that you just want to learn how to take more control back, how to be less reactive and more responsive to challenging situations and not let the circumstances of your life define your experiences of it, then this book is for you. It is everything I've learned over the last nearly 10 years now, or over 10 years now, of my own journey. And I am really proud of it, but I didn't write it just for my ego. I wrote it to help make a difference. So please check it out or order it for someone you know who's going through a tough time and can do with some extra support. It's both inspiring but very practical, because I know that the only way we really change is through putting things into practice and having strategies and not just 5 seconds of motivation and then it falls flat, which is kind of what I wanted to speak about today for this episode. Because I think it's very easy in today's world of busy, busy, busy. Our work schedules can be very full. We have families and other hobbies and friends and birthdays and travel and all of the things that it's very easy to sometimes feel like you're at the mercy of your schedule and everything on it. And that almost like that little bit of that victimy, like, oh, I have to do this thing and I really don't want to do it. I don't want to go to the gym. I don't want to stay back after work. I don't want to have to go out tonight for dinner and celebrate my friend's birthday. I don't want to have to walk my dog or clean up after my kids. I don't want to have to insert whatever little, I guess, whiny thing that's very easy for our brain to instantly default to when it comes to doing something. And it's I think a lot of people go like, I just don't know why I'm so unmotivated. I just don't want to have to do this thing. And I'm like, Bingo, that's the reason you're unmotivated. Of course, when you tell yourself, I don't want to do this, but I have to, not only do you feel like unmotivated, you also create that like resentment, right? Because anything like, oh, I have to do this, it's almost like we feel like we don't have a choice, which anytime we feel like we don't have a choice, we feel that little bit more resentful and less like we have autonomy over our lives. And so today's just a little pep talk to remind you that you absolutely do have choice and autonomy over what you choose to do with your time, and you are never victim to what's on your schedule. And so to help increase your commitment to following through, to feeling less like, oh, poor me, like that damsel in distress, kind of like, oh, I have to, I'm just so busy. Here's the pep talk I want to give you, because every time your brain's like, I have to I do this, but I really don't want to, or I really don't want to do this, but I have to, those two thoughts are so draining to your feelings and actions, right? Because the way we think about what we need to do influences how we feel about it. And it's our feelings that drive our action. So if you're not following through on something, or you keep putting it off, procrastinating, making it take longer, it's because typically we're indulging in all this woe is me, I have to, kind of draining, unmotivating, resentful self-talk, which of course makes things harder to do. And maybe we do end up doing them, but with that kind of I don't want to do this energy, which is no fun for anyone. And as an adult, of course, we're not victim to our schedules. We are actually choosing every single thing that goes on the schedule. And I know sometimes it doesn't really feel that way. Like, no, Kate, I am not choosing, like, I'm not putting this on my schedule. My boss is making me go to this extra meeting or stay back late, or it's my partner's friend that I have to go to dinner for. It's not even my friend. Like, I just have to go because it's his friend. Or, I have to drop my dogs off at the daycare because, I've got to go away for work. So this is extra thing I just like have to do. And so we've got to step back and remember that every single thing that is on our schedule is something we're choosing to do, right? No one's holding us hostage saying you have to do this thing or else, XYZ, someone dies or like you lose a pinky or something. Like we're actually choosing to do it. So I think that's really important, because I have to versus I'm choosing to is a very different kind of energy, right? And even like we're sitting down to record this podcast on a Sunday afternoon. Part of why I'm recording this episode or this topic today is because my brain's like, oh, I have to record a podcast. And then I have to remember, no, wait, actually, I don't have to do anything. I don't have to record this podcast. The world will be totally fine. I'm sure you guys would be totally fine if I didn't record something this week. So I'm actually choosing to. And in fact, the next thing that's important to remember when it's like, I have to, you got to remember you're choosing to stay back at work. Your boss, even if even if you're like, well, then he'd fire me though if I didn't go to that meeting. Well, that's when the next part that we have to talk back to our brain every time it's like, oh, but I don't want to do it, is like, oh, well, actually, I guess I do want to go to that meeting then, because I don't want to get fired. I don't want to get in trouble. I do want to go to my friend's birthday because I don't want to let them down. I do want to make them feel special, even though I'm a little tired tonight. Like I'm choosing to go, and part of me actually does want to go because I don't want the negative consequence of not doing this thing, or it is meaningful enough to me that I still want to show up even when it's hard. And so every time your brain tells you, oh, I don't want to do this, but I have to, be honest with yourself, right? We're adults now. We've got to tell ourselves the freaking truth. That's the only way we grow, is the ability that we're willing to admit the truth to ourselves. And the truth is, you actually are choosing to do this thing. It's a choice. So you could choose not to. No one's forcing you to do it. You have the autonomy to say, I actually don't want to do this. I'm not going to do this thing. I'm not going to go to the birthday. I'm not going to work at work. I'm not going to go to the gym after work or before work. I'm not going to go for that run or that walk or call my mum back or whatever it is. Okay, choose to do that then. Oh no, but I don't want to let them down. I don't want to lose my job. I don't want to be overweight and feel terrible in my body and with my health. So the truth is, then you actually do want to do that thing, right? You want to get to the gym. You want to show up for the birthday dinner. You want to work back at work and go to that extra meeting for your boss, but also for your own job, for your own longer term goals. So you've got to know that your brain will naturally want to choose the path of least resistance at any moment. It's wired for survival. It's wired for conserving energy, to not have to change states or to exert more effort if it doesn't need to. And how you can help override that is to drop all the self-drama, dramatic, woe is me, like I'm a victim to my schedule self-talk, and remember, okay, everything's a choice. Do I want to choose to do this? And if you say no, but then you're like, oh, but then I don't want to have to deal with X, Y, like X, Y, Z kind of situation, then remind yourself you do actually want to show up and do the thing. It is a choice. And that feels very different, right? I don't want to, but I have to, versus I'm choosing to because I actually want to, right? There's a reason that I put this thing on my schedule at some point, and here's my reason. And if your reason is just to people please someone else, like maybe it's like my boss wouldn't really fire me if I didn't go to stay back at work, but I just want to please him, or I'm scared of him being disappointed in me, or my friend being disappointed in me. Like there are times where you really may be exhausted, where you do need to choose to tap out on doing that thing. But that's when, if we feel scared to not do it, that's when we're like dipping into people pleasing at the expense of our own needs, which is a very different conversation for another day, right? Because really, people pleasing isn't trying to get other people to feel differently about us. We're just trying to avoid potentially feeling disappointed that we're disappointed in someone. And that's, again, something that we kind of all learn in childhood if we've been taught, or like kind of had our own needs pushed aside a little, and we got our validation from quote unquote pleasing other people and being a good girl and all that. That's a whole entire different conversation. But most of the time, the truth is we just have a human brain that's very much wired to not want to do hard, effortful things like work a little later, show up on a Sunday to record a podcast, go to the gym before or after work, or even on a Sunday as well. Like, I think you've just got to nip it in the bud, as I'd say, when you hear that, I don't want to, but I have to kind of self-pity talk. It's not helping you, it's not serving you, and it's not even really true. 90% of the time, you do want to do that thing. And that's why you're going to choose to do it. It's either to avoid a far worse negative consequence if you don't do that thing, or to get you closer to a longer term goal, to gain some sort of progress or reward on the other side of doing that thing. So no more self-defeating, unmotivating self-talk when you look at your schedule over this week. If there's any like, oh, I don't want to, but I have to, hear this little voice come in your head and remember, no, I am choosing to because I want to, for a longer term goal or to avoid an even more uncomfortable situation. Show up, follow through, and feel really proud that you've taken that extra step to earning your own self-respect and self-trust that you will do the things that you said you're going to do because you're choosing to, because you want to. All right, I'll catch you back here next week, guys. Go do hard things that are ultimately going to get you closer to the person that you want to be. Hey there, thanks for tuning in to the show. Are you looking for an inspiring speaker for your next event, conference, or company meeting? Check out my website, kategladdin.com, where you can learn more about my impactful keynote presentations that empower people to change the way they respond to adversity. Less complaining, less drama, and less stress, and more recognizing, reflecting, and redirecting. That is the key to resilience, and I'd love to share it at your next event. Learn more at kategladdin.com.